Welcome to Get Wed,
a podcast to plan your wedding by.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Kerry.
And we're both here as professional photographers
and brides-to-be to help you plan your big day.
Each week we'll discuss a topic that you'll encounter along your wedding planning journey.
And with the help of fellow industry experts, we'll navigate this crazy wedding world
together.
Hey!
Hello everyone!
We're back! I'm going to say that every episode.
I know. We're back. Yeah, we have to keep thinking of a way to say hello and it's really awkward, but we're going to keep going.
It's even more awkward now that we're actually being watched on YouTube, which is...
Oh yeah, I can't pick my nose anymore.
Thank God.
And I had to put makeup on and get out of my pyjamas, so I am really disappointed.
It's right. I'm dressed on top but pyjamas on the bottom.
Yes. I have got my slippers on and a little blanket, so it's fine.
No one will ever know. So this week we've decided to kind of address a reader suggestion from our listener survey. Listener suggestion from our listener survey. One of our listeners mentioned that they would like a bit of help with planning out timings on the wedding day. And as photographers, Katie and I find ourselves working almost like but as wedding coordinators sometimes. Yes. We sometimes, if there isn't a wedding coordinator at the venue or at the wedding, then it'll be us that's trying to keep everything on track and time and onto a schedule. And oftentimes, because we're involved in all parts of the day, we're the ones moving things along or telling people what needs to be happening next. So we felt that we were quite, qualified to talk about this subject. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're stressing with timings, this one's for you. Yeah.
No, we know all the tips and tricks of the trade. So we're hoping we might be useful, but
yeah.
We'll see as we ramble along. It's all good.
So we thought we'd get started. But basically, when me and Katie work with our couples, we always plan a timeline in advance. I think this is probably standard for most photographers.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I like to know exactly what's going to happen at what time, where the addresses are, what the group's photos will be, all before the wedding day. So I'm not turning up on the day being like, oh, so what time is this happening? Oh, what time are we going there? Oh, how many groups do we need?
Could you imagine? That would be horrible.
Yeah, it'd be so stressful. If I don't have a timeline, at least like 2 weeks before a wedding, I start stressing. I'm like, oh, definitely. Where are the times?
Because it's just as much for you as it is the couple. Like it's a good thing to have, everybody. So make sure you've got one.
Mm-hmm. And so so make sure you're planning that out beforehand. Get in touch with a photographer. They will probably get in touch with you, but if not, get in touch with them.
Yes. So we thought with kind of planning it, we'd start right from the morning. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Yeah. And we can kind of talk about all the little bits of the day and give you a few tips along the way.
Yeah.
So we're going to do morning prep. So I keep saying so.
That's like me last week saying cool.
I know. That's going to be my word I'm going to get stuck on. I was going to do it again then. I'll stop myself. So in the morning, it's always good to allow loads of time, I think, for getting ready, which is what people tend to do anyway. Normally you have to get there at like a silly time in the morning, don't you, if you want to get your hair done and whatever.
Mm-hmm. I always tell my brides that I'd rather them be ready and bored waiting for their car than to fluster and be really stressed because they're late getting to leaving their house or wherever they're getting ready to get to the ceremony. So
definitely, so much nicer not to be hot and stressed and just sit there and have a nice glass of something and know that it's all done and you can just enjoy that little moment before you go in. So
exactly.
So yeah.
And I find in the morning that time flies by much faster the more people are there as well.
Yes.
So there's lots of bridesmaids or parents and all sorts trying to get ready in the same bathroom. That's when I find time probably goes a bit faster because there's not as much room for people to get ready, I guess. So I think you have to kind of have a think about who you want there in the morning. It's also nice to have relaxed people around you.
Yes. And that's why I like to get organised, because if you've got a rough idea of what's happening, and it's just it makes me feel better to plan. I don't know how other people are, but I know that even on my wedding day, I made sure I planned when people were getting their hair done and all that. And if people had happened to sleep around, I think you should plan when people are using the shower and just things like that. I know it sounds a bit OCD, but I think that kind of thing does, when everybody knows as well, they're not constantly asking you questions. So if you've got it all written, I wrote it on a big chalkboard, up there. So if anyone's got any questions, they know when they've got to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of thing, sort of helps.
Yeah, I think the one day you can really do with being OCD and organised is on your wedding day.
Yes, definitely. Because planning does make it go smoothly, I
It
think.
does.
So
it looks a bit bridezilla-ish, but
it does.
It makes
really
the day
does.
run smoothly.
Yeah. And I always think, like you said, it starts off very slow and you're like, oh, I've got ages. And then all of a sudden it will just go at the end. And and then it's a bit of a crazy panic. And I find at most weddings that kind of happens when it's something like, bridesmaids put your dresses on, bride get her, and it all suddenly happens, doesn't it?
Snowballs.
So I think maybe stagger that a bit more.
I always tell my brides to give themselves an hour to get into their dress, which sounds like a lot of time, but they never get into their dress the hour before they need to leave. So even if they've got it in their head that they should be, around that hour before mark, they're getting to the point where they're going to be starting to think about putting the dress on. And that gives you time for things like difficulty doing it up, especially if it's a corseted dress. People always get to that point and they're like, all right, how does this work?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Even if it's just like a simple zip-up dress that has buttons, the buttons take way longer than you think they're going to take. Like, just give yourself like that hour to get into the dress and do any last touch-ups.
Like doing another little makeup touch-up is not a bad thing, is it?
No. So I think it's definitely something that people need to give themselves way more time for. And again, like if they end up being ready early, then that's a good thing. You can sit down, have another glass of champagne and just relax until the car comes.
And especially if you want things like first look or maybe a few pictures if it's nice or something in the garden, or just allow lots and lots of time for that, because you don't want to have to turn around and say, oh, we're not going to have time, I'm afraid, because we're a bit. So, if you want things like that done, be sensible about it, be ready a little bit earlier as well.
Especially as well because the photographer will always need to leave before they leave. I like to leave about 10 minutes ahead so I can get my car parked, especially if it's a church, because there's never a car park at a church. Definitely. I like to make sure I get there 10 minutes ahead of them so I've got time to dump my car somewhere, get all my equipment out and get to the ceremony before the bride's going to arrive. So, just giving yourselves extra time will make your photographer very, very happy.
Oh, definitely. And also things like, don't forget to cut tags out of stuff.
Yes.
Because people always seem to leave the tags in like they're going to return it at some point. Whether they do after the wedding, I don't know. But cut all the tags out, take all the labels off the bottom of your shoes, maybe score them and everything. Get all those things ready. Like put all your, if you want to put pads and stuff in your shoes, do all of that before your wedding. Don't leave it until that morning, because there's much better things to be doing than stuff like that.
Definitely.
And also things like painting your nails and stuff the night before or the week running up to, don't again leave that until the morning to have wet toenails, or which I have seen quite a few times, people trying to paint their nails and stuff. Just don't do it. It's just going to stress you out. So Tag totally agrees with me.
Tag is disagreeing in the background there. After the ceremony, or after the bride getting ready, anyway, I'm so distracted by Tag.
I think your post is here.
This is postman time.
Yeah. There we go. Oh,
he's calming down. Sorry, everybody. This is real life.
Yeah, this is real.
After their bride is ready and she's at the ceremony, the next thing is to think about, there's not really much you can do timing-wise with a ceremony. It all differs depending on the type of ceremony you've gone for and what's happening there. So there's not really much in your control. But generally, I find that religious services are around 45 minutes. Civil services tend to be about half an hour. And if you're having a celebrant-led wedding, it could be as long as you want it to be.
Yeah, it can go on and on and on.
You just need to kind of know that that's going to happen at that point in time. And then the next thing to think about is what's going to happen after your ceremony. So things like coming out for the confetti, group photos, that sort of thing. I like to always tell people to give themselves about 20 minutes to just come out of the church or the ceremony room, because that's when everybody wants to talk to them and congratulate them and give them funny horseshoes and all that sort of thing. So just giving yourselves 20 minutes to just have like a little mingle and chat and just calm your nerves, or revel in the excitement is always a good thing. But there's always times where that might not be a good idea as well, especially if there's rain clouds looming overhead.
Yes, definitely. And we've had such a funny year for weather this year, haven't we? So I think sometimes you've got to be a little bit flexible on your timings too. So if it looks like it might rain or something like that, or if it is raining, just switch things around a bit and be open to, either cracking on and getting stuff done or relaxing. I
tend to, especially most of my winter weddings, like the ones early spring where, the weather is always a bit dodgy, I would try to let the ceremony finish and just whisk a couple off straight away for photos, which makes me look really possessive, because I'm like, come on guys, let's go. But actually, it just means that I can guarantee I've got some photos of them outside before it starts to rain. And also it gives them time to just chat to each other as well. So,
Yeah.
Because otherwise then it gets to chat to each other, come out and suddenly they're whisked away by all these people who want to talk to them. So yeah, either way can work depending on you as a couple. But yeah, always watch out for the rain, and just if your photographer suggests going off, just do it in case it rains.
Yeah, just embrace it and get that sort of stuff done. I think it's a good idea. And yeah, things like confetti, just be super organised, have everything ready. And do maybe supply confetti too. I know it's expensive, but when people don't, you can't always rely on people to bring some. And
it
it's
makes
so
such
much
a
better.
difference. Yeah, when there's loads of confetti, it looks incredible in pictures, doesn't it?
Yeah, like you can't, you're always going to get a good shot with confetti, really. It's quite hard, unless you're looking like you're terrified of it the entire time. It's very hard to get it wrong.
But is that not a thing, though? Did you do confetti? You did do confetti at a wedding, I know you did. Did you not find, as it was being flung in your face, that your first reaction was just a grimace? And be like, oh.
Yeah, I think because I always say to everyone, now try not to look like you're terrified the whole time, and it's not going to actually hurt you as much as your body's saying like, close your eyes, like it's going to hurt you. So I really try not to, but I think we had so much in our mouths and stuff at the end as well, because we supplied loads and loads. eBay is brilliant for confetti, by the way. That's where we got ours from. So yeah, get nice big bits as well. Don't get the little some petals that you degrade and they turn to little tiny powdery bits.
Yeah.
And then they just stick on you. And so try and get nice big fat petals or coloured bits. They look really, really cool. Top tips for confetti.
Yeah, top tips. I always think it's so funny. I always tell my couples at the top of like the confetti line, I'm like, right, you're going to walk down here and everyone's going to be throwing confetti at you. Try not to run because I'm going backwards.
Oh, I know. That's the word. That's a very good tip. Actually,
and then I just say to them, just go slow and try not to close your eyes. And
and then you always get the granny at the end who's got a whole handful. She just shoves it down the bride's back or something. You're like, no.
Find confetti for days.
But yeah, we say go for your confetti shot. It looks really, really cool. And then after that, you'll probably be having like drinks and canapes and stuff. And then your formal shots, which is your photographer's favourite bit of the day.
And sometimes if you're getting married in a separate location, you need to consider the timing it's going to take you to travel and all your guests to arrive as well. So sometimes, if it's a church wedding, for example, it might be worthwhile to do your formal shots at the church if there's enough space, because churches can be cramped. Because once you get back to the venue, you're going to be waiting for everybody else to arrive. People might go and check in or wander off and look at the grounds. So it can be difficult to get your group shots going if there's that travel time in between, I find.
Yeah, so that's very true.
It may be worth doing your couple photos first and waiting for everyone to arrive and then doing your formal groups or doing them at the church or whatever. But yeah, you need to kind of factor in that time.
And do, obviously, hopefully your photographer will have like the shot lists and everything with them. But maybe have a good idea of what that is just in case. But I think normally you can depend, if you've got a good photographer, that they'd have all that information, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I always like to plan the groups out in advance. So I'm not on the day trying to work out what parents or what combinations I need. I've just got it in order and get through them quickly. So and actually limiting the group shots that you do will make a difference, because the more groups you have, the longer that time period is going to take to get those photos. So I always like to say allow 5 minutes per group, which sounds like a lot of time when you add it up, but it's because somebody will always be wandering off somewhere. Yeah. You've got to find them to get them in the group photo. So it's 5 minutes to find the people, arrange them and take the shot. Taking the shot's the quick bit. It's
that's so true.
Getting them
it's line everyone up.
Yeah. So give yourself 5 minutes per group, and then that will soon make you realise how much time the group photos do take if you add on more and more. I say to my couples between 6 to 8 at maximum. Yeah. No,
I think that's a good amount. I mean, obviously it's hard if you've got a big family or, family where you've got people divorced and things. I understand that can sort of pad it out a little bit more, but just be sensible and do the ones that you're going to look at, and don't do ones just for the sake of it, just to keep people happy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that, don't they? They just put every kind of possible combination in because they don't want to upset somebody. Now goes Mossy, like. Yeah.
We're having a real day of it today, of like all that dogs barking.
I think the dogs are feeling left out. They're just chatting to each other via Skype.
Yeah, there was a dog outside, so she's just decided to go nuts. Sorry, everyone, if you can pick that up. Right, we're going to carry on. We're not going to be distracted by our dogs. They're going to throw us today. And then you've got drinks and canapes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that sometimes there's a bit of a lull here in the day?
I do. So this this is either a manic time where like you're trying to do your formals, hopefully going off for a walk at some stage, but then you do tend to have a little bit of a lull as well. So this is
I
tricky.
think it's something that you don't notice yourself as a couple because you're busy doing all the things, like all the photos and stuff. But sometimes as a guest at a wedding, you can notice when there's not much going on, especially if you're not involved in the group photos or you're not, there's nothing going on to entertain you.
Yeah.
So maybe it's worth thinking about some kind of guest entertainment for that point.
Yes.
Mossy agrees.
I'm like just going. No, it's okay. Mossy. Stop it. Sorry, everybody. I don't know. She never normally barks like that. I'm really sorry. Okay. So yeah, no, I completely agree, and there can be a funny little lull there as well.
Yeah. There you go. She's quiet. She agrees. But yeah, if you find some sort of entertainment in that time, whether it's like lawn games. I was trying to say garden games and lawn games all at the same time there.
That could be a new thing.
So maybe some garden games, perhaps an acoustic singer, something to kind of keep people interested in something and not just silently standing around sipping their drinks and wondering what's happening. Because I think that's what it is. Everyone's like, well, what time's dinner?
Yeah, no, exactly. And you do find that people naturally towards the end are like, food. And they're kind of be hanging around outside or something, like wanting their food. Yeah,
even though there's canapes going around, it's still like, so when's dinner? When's it happening?
Yeah.
Did you have anything to entertain your guests in that point?
We had the choir from the ceremony came outside,
right.
and they were like singing for everyone, and then we had train rides, so we were quite lucky that we had little kind of bits going on in between drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can sit in the carriages. So I think as long as you kind of open up different areas as well. I remember Caroline gave me quite a good tip where if you sort of introduce a new section or something, that can just be kind of entertainment alone. If you kind of introduce a new bit or you're going to somewhere else, that's better for people as well, rather than being in one area the whole time.
Yeah, gives them something to go, even if it's like a venue where they can explore the grounds and wander for a bit.
Yeah, or even if you kind of lead them as well, because sometimes it's funny how people are like little lemmings, really. And I did it even the other weekend when I was bridesmaid, that you kind of all hang out in one place and no one kind of is brave enough to kind of wander off. So that's why it's quite nice when like a band will lead you through a garden or something like that, which I've seen this year, which worked quite nicely, and just kind of allowing you to go to bits and stuff and not be afraid that you are allowed to go in there and stuff.
That's something I want to try and do at our wedding. Like I was saying to you about last week, I really like the idea of a band leading us from the ceremony down to our reception area, or like the part of the field. That's what I'd really like to happen.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, and people love that kind of thing as well. I think that's kind of like a nice, interesting. So it doesn't have to be like a big grand gesture of entertainment, but something like that can be really good, I think. But we find like an hour and a half, 2 hours, would you say is the norm for that kind of period of time?
Yeah, I think I'd allow an hour and a half if it was all happening in one place, if the venue and the ceremony and the reception is all in the same venue. But if you're going from a church to your venue, I'd allow 2 hours, because then you've got half an hour travel time, and then you've got the hour and a half back at the venue. I think that's ideal, good. Personally.
Good tip. Yeah, no, I like that.
Top tips from Kerry.
And now also, if you're going to do a receiving line, so this is a line where you basically say hello to every single person who's at your wedding before they go into your room for food. And
typically it's the bridegroom, both sets of parents, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
so
and sometimes it's best man and kind of maybe chief bridesmaid too. I've seen a few times.
So it can sometimes be like 6 to 8 people in the
that's
line.
Saying hello. So if you're going to do anything like that, at least half an hour, depending on how many people you've got.
Yeah.
But allow time for that, please.
And also you have to make sure you keep the conversation short at that point, because I think it's so difficult when you've kind of got grands and granddads who just haven't had the chance to catch up with you all day, and then they want to look at the ring and ask you all sorts of questions. And in your head, I can imagine you're probably thinking, I need everyone to sit down now.
Yeah.
Because the longer you spend with each person, the longer the line's being held up. So, it's difficult. It's I think it's a lovely thing to do, because it means that everyone gets to meet everybody, but at the same time it takes a lot of time. You really have to kind of be quite strict with how much conversation you're having. Yeah,
definitely. And just the whole thing is about being realistic with times. So, allow lots and lots of time to do stuff and be realistic. It's not going to be a quick, easy thing to do something like that. I mean, it's a bit more of a formal thing, I would say. I don't see as much of them as I used to, but I completely understand it when people do want to do them. So I
think a lot of people don't really know what they are either, receiving lines.
No.
I've been to so many
Well,
weddings
that's
where
like
guests
mum and
just walk, the guests just wander in and they're like, oh, you're supposed to stop and talk to everybody.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
oh, what?
Yeah.
A really strange
So,
concept.
yeah. And it is quite nice as well if you're being introduced into the room, that kind of thing. Just think about that. Think about who might introduce you, just so it's not like, it doesn't matter too much if you're just deciding on the day, but just think about all the little things like that. So that could be a really nice thing to do, I think, when you're kind of, everyone claps you and you come in and, you know, it's nice.
Welcome in the new Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's nice. And then after that, you've kind of got your meal, obviously. Your caterers will advise you how long your meal should take. It would depend on how many courses you're having and what sort of food it is. And then after that, you've got to start thinking about your speeches.
Yes. So some people do them before food as well, and some people do them after. And obviously, again, that's something you have to talk to your caterer about and just make sure that's going to work. I see a lot more people doing them before now, so if they get a bit nervous or something like that, you might want to just kind of get them done, not to be rude, but get them done. And then a lot of people do them after. So yeah, do and allow quite a bit of time. I don't know how much time would you say?
I don't know. Should you give like each speaker a designated amount of time, and then
that might be a good idea.
What happened at yours? Did yours go on very long?
No, we sort of said we want them quite short. So I think it was about half an hour for all of them.
Yeah, so like a 10-minute speech per person maximum.
But we had two best men, so it was just trying to, I don't know if they communicated to each other or not, but I didn't want them to go on and on and on. I want them to be quite punchy and, you know, I think you can say what you want to say about it being on millions of pages, can't you, really?
Yeah. So, it's probably, I think some speeches do go on far too long.
Yeah.
And you can kind of lose the crowd a bit, especially if they're before dinner, because everyone's so hungry.
Yeah, and I would really say if you could avoid it, don't serve food and stuff during them. I know some people say, oh, we're going to have dessert with speeches, but that people are just into their food, you know, and they're not really paying attention. Photography-wise, you sort of go to take a picture and someone's just stuffing their face. So sometimes things like that I don't think, unless you're struggling for times and things haven't gone to plan and you need to make time up, I would always say don't kind of have food and stuff during speeches. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes it's there's a speech between courses and things, isn't there?
Yes, yeah.
So
and then I think that's, I don't know, I'm biased, but I think kind of do them all at once, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can see the reasoning behind doing the between speeches because it, you know, spreads them out and gives you something interesting between each course. But
yeah, that's true.
From a photographer point of view, it stresses me out
massively. It's a nightmare. Yeah.
I'm constantly like sitting there thinking, waiting for like a ding 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 ding, and I've got to run from the room again.
Yeah, and if somebody cheers or something, then it's just a false alarm. You literally ran and
I get that even when the speeches have been done before the meal. And I hear a random cheer, I'm running into that room, like, and I'm like, "What's happened?" And I get there, and looks at me like I'm weird.
Yeah, it's like a drinking game or something. You're like, "Damn it!"
The last wedding I did, actually, we were sat in a different room for dinner, but it was like a dividing door, so it's like a door that folded back between the rooms. Oh. So we could hear what was going on, but we were sitting down having the same food, so we were just in a different room. And then all of a sudden, I heard someone go, "Speech!" and like ching their glass, and me and my second sheet were like, "What?" We're like halfway through our food and we just grabbed the cameras and ran in the room. The door was locked. So we none of the catering staff had like served out any drinks or anything. And so the caterer was trying to find the key and get this door unlocked, and we were like, "What's happening?" And we all got inside, and then this bloke was just like, "Only kidding." We're like, "What?"
Oh my word.
And we all just looked so stupid, like me and my second shooter, and then all these catering staff who were like, "Huh? What?"
Oh my God. That's stressful. Oh my God. Yeah, if you ever want to really wind up everybody in your suppliers list, then do that at your wedding.
It was hilarious looking back on it now, but at the time I was like, "What is happening?"
At the time you felt...
Luckily the speeches were after dinner and we didn't miss them, so it was all okay.
Oh my word. Oh, stress. So do plan where that's going to be and just be realistic, but also maybe warn people not to kind of go on and do write down your speech. Don't just kind of, it's nice to say it from the heart, but some people really do waffle. Just have bullet points or just kind of know what you're going to say.
I think it's easier to waffle when you haven't got a speech because you're just making it up on the fly, aren't you? And just saying whatever comes to your mind. But, planning's always good. Perhaps we over-plan our lives, Katie.
Yeah, perhaps we do.
So you've got your speeches, and then after the speeches, you obviously got another, what can sometimes be a bit of a lull again.
Where
you have the moment between the meal ending and the first dance beginning, evening guests arriving, all that sort of thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to have one of these at my wedding. Even though I really don't want it to happen, but just timing wise, our band doesn't start until 8, and we think that our meal will finish by 7. So then you've kind of got an hour to fill.
Yeah, but they'll be turning the room around. And...
Our room won't be turned round.
Oh, you're just going to like have the space at the end, are you?
Yeah, it's going to be there already. So we could put an iPod on, I guess, and people could start to dance.
Oh, I would definitely have some background music of some sort. Yeah, definitely. Will you have music during food and stuff?
Yeah, just like low. So it's
I think it's a good idea to have a bit of background noise.
It's just like that weird lull, isn't it, where there's not really anything happening. I always take the couple of more pictures at that point, maybe like 10-20 minutes, especially if it's in the summer and you've got that really lovely...
Yeah, if it's the summer, that's brilliant, isn't it? Because you've got that time, haven't you? But in the winter, it's
dark.
A lot harder, actually. Yeah, because people can't go around the gardens and stuff because it's dark. And so, I mean, maybe think about supplying games, or some people do quizzes and stuff, which I've seen, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
So maybe just thinking what you might be able to do to entertain people. But I think an hour's okay. I think anything more than an hour you might have to think about.
Yeah, and I suppose actually by that point everyone's had something to drink, so they probably don't notice an hour going by, do they?
Well, yeah, they're just probably sitting, getting their more drinks in and talking to people and stuff. So
yeah, perhaps moving around the room more.
Yeah, I would say anything more than an hour, think about maybe doing something for people, to keep them busy. But an hour is all right, I think.
Yeah. We didn't mention earlier on about times for couple photos, how long that would take.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, I grab whatever I can, really, but, 20 minutes is brilliant. Yeah. Would you say 20 minutes, half an hour is awesome if you can give your photographer that much time?
Yeah, I'd like to allow 20 minutes to half an hour, and then another 10 minutes, 20 minutes in the evening, depending on what the weather's doing.
Yes, yeah.
So if it's like a nice summer's evening where the sun's getting nice and low and golden, in the industry we call that the golden hour.
Oh yeah, the golden hour, yeah.
It's nice to kind of allow your photographer to take you off for pictures during that time. But as the summer goes on, that becomes earlier, so it can sometimes be when you're about to eat your dessert.
Yeah, like at the moment it's pretty much bang on when you're eating, isn't it, really, or doing speeches. So you're just kind of missing that now, which is a shame. But if you want to do things like sparkler shots as well, maybe do it at that point after food when people haven't hopefully had too many drinks where they're going to like burn themselves horribly.
How do you feel about sparkler shots? Do you enjoy them?
They scare me.
They scare me too.
Great. You nail it. They look great. But again, I think you just got to be realistic about it. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. So don't get your heart set on it, because sometimes you can't always do it. And
I think they're fantastic.
Get really long sparklers. Yes. Don't get the little ones. Get long ones from from eBay or something. Get the long ones.
Like the giant sparklers. I think they're fantastic for winter weddings, because they suit a winter wedding where it's going to get dark earlier. But when people have them in the summer, I always think it's not going to be dark until 11 o'clock.
Yes, definitely.
And then everyone is really drunk, and it's so dangerous. I sound like the health and safety police, but...
No, but they do. I've had ones right in my face. And
I've heard horror stories about photographers being burnt and things like some of them exploding, and then... like you've got your back to everyone, so then you can't see what's happening. And it makes me panic.
No, and especially with a big bridal dress and everything.
Yeah.
Just be really, really careful, and bring lots of lighters too, because people often bring sparklers and they forget about the lighters, and then you've got one lighter between 100 sparklers, and it's just...
And then the first one's gone out by the time the last one's lit.
Yeah. So get lots of lighters, lots of sparklers, and maybe just have a plan of where you're going to chuck them all, like a little bucket or something like that, and just... And
do them before everyone's drunk. I think they're great in the winter straight after the ceremony when it's dark, because people are sensible, a bit more aware of themselves. When you're drunk, you just think it's going to be fine to wave it in someone's face.
yeah, that's so true. So maybe plan to do stuff like that in between that little gap as well, which can be quite cool.
Yeah.
And then evening people then start arriving. So obviously plan sensibly when they come, and then when you want evening stuff to kick off, I would say. So if you want your evening people to cut the cake and first dance, invite them quite a bit before that, because people are often fashionably late, especially if you're going to do it on a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. No one ever arrives on time as an evening guest, do they? It was always, if you say they're going to be at 7:30, they're around 8ish, aren't they? So I'd invite them earlier than what you actually want them to be there.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
But not.
And you might get the odd person coming on time, but most people really, really don't. So, So if you really want them there for those extra bits, then allow, I don't know, So invite them at 6:30 and do everything at 7:30, 8, something like that. Would you say?
I don't know, I might arrive them if I was planning to do my first dance at 7, maybe I'd invite them at 6:30. But
yeah.
I wouldn't invite. But if I was doing my first dance at 7:30, maybe I'd invite them for like 7. An hour just seems a bit much.
Yeah, do you think?
Yeah, most people would be half an hour, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. We're working out as we go. Invite them. Yeah, about half an hour before.
And another great thing that I think is a good tip is to cut your cake right before you do your first dance.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got their attention on you cutting the cake, and then it's easy for your DJ or your band to be like, and to announce it out. Actually, they could be like, so and so going to cut the first cake. Cut the first cake. They've got 500 cakes to cut tonight, and they're about to start the first one. And they're about to cut the cake. So everyone will crowd around you, do the cake cut. Which again is a weird. We should have an episode about traditions because that's a weird tradition.
Yeah, why do we do that?
I don't know. And anyway, once the cake is cut, then your DJ band can announce and gather around the dance floor and join us for the first dance. And it's just a nice way to flow into it and get those two last like important things done, and then you haven't got to think about your like photos or anything after that point.
Yeah,
it's all just relaxed.
And I think let your photographer know though if you are going to do that, so they're not doing like a crazy dash to the dance floor, panicking. So yeah, no, I agree. I think that could be quite nice, can't it?
Yeah, so that's like the whole day really. After that, you just kind of got, dancing going on.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's when you can let your timeline go. Stop checking your checklist.
True. Once you've done those things, like, we're done. We're pretty much done now. Everyone can relax. Isn't that terrible though? That's right at the end of the day. But
I guess you probably would relax before that point, just knowing that that's all you've got left to do. I'd relax by speeches, I think, and be like,
yeah. Right. I think girls relax a lot earlier on. Like normally after ceremony, they're like, phew, and then the guy's still stressed out until speeches, I would say. But
unless the girl is going to do a speech.
Yes, which you can. That's true. We don't not being sexist. You can, can't you now? So.
I wouldn't be able to do that, but I have seen a lot of brides do it. I'm always like my heart's beating when I see a bride stand up, and I think, oh my god, you're so brave.
Yeah, I know. I know I couldn't, but respect to anybody who can. Would you say that's the main tip? So
yeah, I think we've covered pretty much every about timings there that I would think about covering.
Yeah,
I think we mentioned about couple photos. Give yourself about 20-30 minutes. Group photos as a little roundabout. Oh my god! As a little roundup here. So 20 minutes for your couple photos. 5 minutes per photo for your group shots. Give yourself an hour to get into your dress, even though you don't need it, just so you're not flustered before you leave. That's like the main ones, isn't it? Oh, if you're going to have a receiving line, allow half an hour. Yeah. And the rest of the time.
Think about your food, talk to your caterer about timings for dinner. Be sensible with speeches. Do maybe be a bit bridezilla and tell people to keep it short and sweet. And if you want to, obviously.
And if you do find yourself with moments before the meal and after the meal where you think it might be a bit of a lull, just think of ways you can kind of entertain your guests with, like, easy things like quizzes or garden games and all that sort of fun stuff. Yeah. No, I think that's the main thing. If you guys have got any questions about timings that we might have missed out, then let us know and we'll be happy to kind of address them in a future episode. And also we are going to give you the option to download our free wedding day checklist, which you can find on the Get Wed website. Go to getwedpodcast.co.uk, look at this episode, which is episode number 2, and you'll find the link to download that. And then you can, if your photographer hasn't provided you with one, or you're planning a bit more of a relaxed day and you haven't really thought about timings, you can fill in our checklist to make yourself feel much better. Yes, and just make sure you've not forgotten anything as well. So yeah, I love a list. Obviously, not everybody likes to work by lists, but I think for your wedding day, get nice and organised, have a nice list. Definitely. Makes you feel better as well and less stressed, which is the main thing too, I would say. I'm hyper organised in my business with lists after list after list. And not so much in my personal life, but at least I know every wedding I shoot is going to be organised because I've got a timeline to follow, which is, I think, the most important part to make it go smoothly. Yeah, definitely. And don't panic if things don't go perfectly to your timings, because you can make up time and things will be fine. But it's just a good idea to have a plan in action. Yeah, and having a timeline that you can, I always add buffer time into. So I always write down things going to take much longer than they do. I call it like buffer time or danger time. And especially like for me personally, like allow my travel distances. I always put in way more time than I need to get to places. Yeah. Just in case anything goes wrong, like an accident on the way there, or something runs over in the meal or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's not going to eat into your timings if you plan some danger time. So
that's good advice. Danger,
Yeah.
and it sounds exciting.
It
Danger
does.
time.
Every wedding needs danger time.
Yeah, that could be like our caption for the episode. Danger time. Right then. So so I think we're all good. So yeah, any questions, then message us and we can help you, or if anything that you think we've not covered, then we can hopefully chat about it in another episode.
Yeah, and don't forget to download that timeline.
Yeah, do the timeline, because we're giving you like stuff for free. It's great.
Cool. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Get Wed.
We hope you enjoyed us babbling on.
And if you did, we'd love for you to let us know.
Head to getwedpodcast.co.uk, hit review and leave your comments.
We hope to see you next time.
Happy planning!